All right, Shalom. All right, Shalom. Beautiful. All right, first and foremost, I'm going to start off this lesson by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Raha Kadash. All right, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone rule well and have taught me this word in truth and sincerity. All right, and peace and mercy to the full elect, starting with the 144,000. It's also pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. I'm your fellow servant Amath of GMS Toronto, coming at you once again with another live lesson. And Low Wilderness lesson, straightforward and edifying. As you see the title, this race requires endurance. Pace yourself. All right. So this race requires endurance. Pace yourself. Now, pacing yourself doesn't mean you take it easy and you take it slow. It means you take it right. You do it right according to the measure of faith, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, talents that you were given. All right. So I got a couple precepts, but before I get those, let's get the word pace. Okay. Because we are at the end. And of course, you got to be on fire. And especially for us prophets, we should be on overdrive when it comes to prophesying because we're right around the corner of everything that we've been prophesying about. Right. So, pace. So here in the etymology, the word pace, it says a step in walking, also rate of motion, space travel by foot. Let's get to the point. Okay. So it says one complete movement in walking, right? And what that made me think about is no half stepping anything, right? You don't want to half step anything. If you were walking to a certain destination and you were taking half steps, it would take you twice as long to get there. And that happens at times, all right, in our walk with Yahweh Shem Shai. Is you're taking half steps, you're doing things, and you're wondering why you're not getting to where you want to get to. Is because you're not taking the full proper step. Even if it might feel like it takes longer to take a fuller step, right? That's what's needed to get you to your destination, right? So let me continue on. It says pace, stride, uh, linear, okay. Distance from the place where either foot is taken up to that where the same foot is. Okay, so there it is. Just skimming down to see where I found what I found earlier. There we go. So it says to keep pace, right? Meaning maintain the same speed. That's the point I'm trying to get to. All right. Pacing yourself is maintaining the same speed. So when you came into truth, if you were on fire and now you're not as on fire, guess what? You're not maintaining pace. You're not pacing yourself. You're half stepping or understepping what you should be doing, right? Because like it says, to maintain the same speed, and I'll change that word for the maintain to maintain the same fire. Okay. You'll get to, of course, at first you're blazing, you're hot, you're going in, cursing everybody out, right? But then over time, you mature and that fire, instead of it blazing all over the place, it's a steady burn. Okay, it's a steady burn. A fire that's a steady burn, just like when you're out there in the cold, it's a fire that can keep you warm long enough for as long as you need, right? But you have to constantly feed that fire too to keep it steady at the same time. So we got to feed the spirit, right? So yeah, it says to keep pace with, maintain the same speed. It says advance at an equal rate. You see? Advance at an equal rate. So doing things not just because, in this ministry, you cannot be serving the Lord for anybody else but yourself. Okay, you can only save yourself. Okay, so everything you do has to be according to your level of faith, your level of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay, so doing it right according to how the Lord made you, and according to what level He put you on. Okay, and that's how you finish. There's been a lot of, even in my little amount of time in this truth, serving the Lord. Um, I didn't see people start off on fire, blaze up, and then fizzle out right away because they didn't pace themselves. And really, people who don't pace themselves when it comes to serving the Lord, one, don't fully understand what they're involved in. They haven't count the costs. This thing goes deep to the point where some of the servants of the Lord are going to be beheaded for serving the Lord. So you definitely have to pace yourself, okay, and really meditate on what you're a part of, right? You don't like rushing relationships in the world doesn't ever end good. So why rush the relationship with Yahweh Shem Shai? Don't get me wrong, time is speeding up, everything's speeding up, but the Lord is speeding things up. You don't got to speed things up. If you're a brother that's a little colder, then yeah, you got to speed. Then you got to ignite things up for things to speed up. Ignite your fire, your spirit, prayer, fasting, right? Reading the scriptures, watching lessons, doing everything you can to keep yourself in the spirit. These are all spiritual logs that keep your fire going, to have it burn steady. Okay, so let's get these precepts I have here. I only got 4, so it shouldn't be too long. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 4, or sorry, Hebrews chapter 12. Okay, verse 1, and it says, "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses," right? Everybody here on earth, yourself is a witness, brotherhood, and all the spirits in the heavens. Okay, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. It says, "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doeth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us." In the NLT, it says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith," right? This is a life of faith that we're living now that we've been born again, right? It's a life of complete faith, right? Cloud of witnesses to the life of faith. Let us strip off every weight that slows us down, okay? Because when you're running a race, let's say you eat before that race, or you chug a whole bunch of water before your race, you're going to get a cramp, which is going to cause you to slow down, which is going to cause you to lose pace. Therefore, you're not pacing yourself, right? Pacing yourself is surrounded around being steady. Okay, you eat a bunch of food before the race, you're going to run slower, right? So these are all parabolic and metaphors for things that only you would know. By the way, only you are going to know what weight, what sin, whatever it is that's going on within you that's slowing you down, that's making you underpace your race. Okay? So, read this again. "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially so obviously any attachments in the world, right? Um of course, these attachments that slow you down are also attachments that you enjoy, right? So there has to be a balance to how much you're enjoying them in comparison to your pace in the truth. Okay. And only you're going to know that. So it says, especially the sin that so easily strips or trips us up, and let us run with endurance the race Yahweh Bashem Shai has set before us. Okay. looking on to Yahweh Shai, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising, and the cross represents what? The burden, right? The cross represents a burden that you have to carry, all right, when you serve the Lord in this wicked society, all right? It says, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Yahweh. NLT, we do this by keeping our eyes on Yahweh Shai, okay? Because he's the standard, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. So the shame that we're about to be brought into, being demonized on the four corners of the earth, okay, and as well with uh, 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 the burden that we carry, just being in this flesh, again dealing with the wickedness of this world, the society, and the wickedness of the flesh. What keeps the elect going and keeps them, all right, within their pace in this run, in this race, rather, endurance, right, enduring everything that comes, is the prize that's set before them, which is the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven, right? The perfect bodies that will be subject to righteousness, not like these bodies which are subject to sin. All right. If these things, like Yahushua said, wherever your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Okay. So sometimes you're not able to maintain pace because your mind isn't in the right place. Right? It's hard to maintain pace if your mind isn't in the right place. Okay, maybe you know what, I'll retitle, maybe retitle it that. But it's true. You have to recenter your focus. That way you can maintain pace, because everybody's pace in this ministry is different. It's different. Okay, I remember the elder brother from Amawan Kabar Salake from New York camp, the main camp, and he had mentioned the dream he had about with him and another brother and Apostle Tahar, and they were running down the basement, and he was saying like Apostle Tahar was running down, he was flying like far down. And I remember him saying that, he took it as that represented how far ahead the apostles are in the spirit, right? Which is of course, right? But that shows you everybody doesn't have the same pace, right? Just like everybody doesn't have the same measurement of faith and same measurement of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But as long as you're maintaining the full effort of what's given to you, that's all that's needed. Okay. So continue on, it says, because I'll read it again, verse 2. Hebrews 12:2. We do this by keeping our eyes on Yahweh Shai, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. Now he is seated in the place of honor beside Yahweh's throne. For consider him that endureth such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be wearied and faint in your minds. Okay, so we got to consider Yahweh Shai anytime we get weak. Okay, as it says, verse 3 in the NLT, think of all the hostility he endured from sinful people. Then you won't become weary and give up. Okay, always think about Yahweh Shai when you're weak. And I got to apply that more, thinking about Yahweh Shai when I get weak. Okay, because there's nothing that we're going through that he wasn't tried with and tempted with. And on top of that, he was tempted with it on the highest level. Okay, so it says, after, I'm going to continue in the NLT, it says, after all, you have not yet given your lives, you have not yet given your lives in your struggle against sin. Exactly. So, in other words, we have to keep going until we're beamed up in them chariots and we're crowned, or we die in the faith. All right. And when you understand that fully, then you're gonna maintain pace. You're gonna pace yourself, which will help you to endure. Okay. It says, and have you forgotten the encouraging words Yahweh spoke to you as his children? He said, my child, don't make light of the Lord's discipline. Yeah, because that's the Lord's discipline is all about keeping you where you need to be. All right, so you can grow properly. Sometimes you're not doing enough, you get disciplined, you get smacked around. Hurry up, let's go. Sometimes you're doing too much, and you get smacked around and pulled back. It's all for your betterment, right? It's all so that you can maintain pace, man, endurance. Okay, and don't give up when He corrects you. For the Lord Yahweh, disciplines those He loves, and He punishes each one He accepts as His child. Okay, straightforward. Let's go from here to Ecclesiastes, or Sirach rather, Salake. Ecclesiasticus, Sirach. All right, chapter 2, and I'll start from 1 to 8, and I'm going to skip down. So, Sirach chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright, right? So, basically, focus. Set your heart aright. Basically going into counting the costs. For a lot of you new believers coming to the truth, really understand what you're involved in. You might have to give up your life serving the Lord. Okay, which there's really, when you get into it, we're not going to go into it right now, but when you get into it, death is really, not real. All right, the scriptures say that um, death, in a sense of how Esau Edom has explained it to the world. All right, because really what happens is you get transitioned. Your spirit never dies. That's why there's a thing called reincarnation. All right, your body decays, your spirit goes up to the Most High. You get your sentence and you come back. So death, in a sense of how Esau Edom has explained it, really isn't real. Okay, is there pain in death? 100%, right? But that's the flesh. That's the flesh. Okay, so again, set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Okay, it says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. And that's so key and vital, because that's how your faith grows. There's no better way to try one's faith and to grow your faith than to like, for example, the Lord made Israel. He tested Israel in the wilderness through patience, right? He tried them, right? And it showed forth that whole generation really had no faith in the Lord in the first place. So when you're tried, when you're forced to suffer or to wait for things, it's because the Lord is trying your faith to see if you truly believe. And if you endure to the very end, you maintain your faith to the very end, you cleave to him, as it says, what? Um, Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. You see, what gets increased when you endure the trial, okay, is your faith ultimately, and then everything else that your faith pours into gets increased automatically. All right, so it says, verse 5, but gold, I'll read verse 4 again. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Order yourself. You got to be aware when you're not keeping up to the standard that the Lord laid down for you. All right, the Lord laid a standard down for all of us prophets, which is at least 3 videos a week, right? In terms of doing the work. But then we all have our own individual standards, all right, within our own personal walk and life with Yahweh Shem Shai. And only you know that, right? So order your way aright. That's another way of saying what? Examine yourself daily to see whether you be in the faith or not. Okay? Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Be patient. I already read that. Verse 6, it says, I read verse 5, for gold is tried in the furnace of adversity, or tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall. Ye that ye that fear the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. Okay, I'm gonna skip down to verse 11. Yeah, so it says, "For the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering, and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins." Yeah, so every day is a new day. All right. Yesterday you might have, messed up, effed up, but you woke up the next day. So Thawadi Yahweh Bashem Shai for giving me the spirit to wake up today, for allowing me to wake up today. And it's a new day. The scriptures say that his mercies are new every morning. All right. So it says, very pitiful and forgiveth sins and saveth in the time of affliction. Woe be to the fearful heart, right? And faint hands, right? And the sinner that goeth two ways, all right? Just not focused. Woe be the fearful heart, lack of faith, always over worrying. Yeah, we have worries in the flesh, but you got to constantly combat your worries by the scriptures, through the scriptures, all right? Um, it says, woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, right? Lazy, that lazy spirit, not working, right? And sinners that goeth two ways. That's right, double minded. Woe unto him that is faint hearted, for he believeth not. Okay? Therefore shall he not be defended. That's straight, man. The Lord is not pleased or happy with anybody that doesn't have faith in him. He's Yahweh Bashem Yal Shai, the Most High, right? The supreme being above all things, right? And then you have the only thing he created was Yahweh Shai, okay? And we know them by name. So to not have faith, all right, the Lord the Lord's not going to defend any Israelites that don't believe in him and his son. Straightforward, okay? Verse 14, woe unto you that have lost patience, right? Endurance, because we know patience means to suffer, right? But also those who lose patience lose the ability to endure as well. And most of the time, it's because you're doing too much. Listen, it boils down to lack of faith and all kinds of different things. But you're doing too much, or you're not doing enough, and so the Lord gets rid of you. So you keeping pacing yourself is making sure that you keep the same level of fervency that you had when you first came in, and it actually grows. It actually can't even be the same when you first started. It needs to grow, but it needs to grow at a steady pace according to who you are, according to the amount of faith, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding you've been given by Yahweh Shemel Shai. Okay. Um, I gotta get going soon, actually. So yeah, that was verse 14. Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? Yeah, nothing. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Let's go to two more. Let's go to Luke 21. Luke 21 and 16. So it says here in NLT, I'll go back and forth. Luke 21 and 16. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kingfolk and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. Verse 16, even those closest to you in NLT, your parents, brothers, relatives, and friends will betray you. Then, Arisake, they will even kill some of you. You hear that? Okay. And everyone will hate you because you are my followers. So really consider what you're involved in. Okay. But not a hair of your head will perish. By standing firm, right, you will win your souls. Okay, by standing firm. So basically, not wavering, man. Okay, keeping that same level of fervency as the Lord continually increases that faith, your faith. Okay, that fire that's burning steadily is really your faith that keeps you going, and it grows and grows and grows, man, until the elect are perfected. Yahweh Razazah were of that number. All right, let's go from here. I just want to get that one out real quick, and let's go to Proverbs 4:20. This will be my last precept. Proverbs 4. Proverbs 4:20, NLT, my child, pay attention to what I say. Listen carefully to my words. Don't lose sight of them. Let them penetrate deep into your heart, your mind. For they bring life to those who find them and healing to their whole body. Wow, right? Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life, right? So guard your mind above all else, because it determines because what you do. That's why Yahweh Shai said what he said. It's not what goes into a man that defiles him, but what comes out. Because what comes out is from what's in his mind, right? So yeah, we have to guard our minds, okay, so that we don't go off the path. You got to be steady on the path, as Sirach said, make straight thy path, not all over the place. Here, then you're going over here, then you're going over there, you're going over here, you're going over there. You're doing too much. You got to be focused on the only thing that matters, which is serving Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. That's the only thing that matters, especially even more so understanding the terrors that he's about to bring to the earth, man. Okay? It says, verse 24, avoid all perverse talk, stay away from corrupt speech, yeah, especially to yourself. Okay? Within yourself, rebuke any perverse and corrupt speech in yourself as well. Look straight ahead. You see, look straight ahead. Fix your eyes on what lies before you, which is the finish line. We're running this race. You're running this race, and you're looking left. You're looking behind you. You're looking beside you. You're looking up. You got to look straight, okay? Because there's all kinds of traps, obstacles on this race. It's not a smooth path, okay? It's uphill, all right? There's holes, there's ditches, there's traps. Esau might be throwing spears at you on either side. You got to dodge while you're running, but still keep pace. Okay. So the Lord puts us under fire, okay, because it's one thing to maintain pace when nothing's coming at you. But when everything is coming at you, let's say, for example, everything's coming at you and you went from doing 5 videos a week to now you're only doing one a week or one every 2, 3 weeks. You're not keeping pace. Okay. But you were put into that situation because the Lord wants to see if you can still maintain, all right, yourself while dealing with all these different obstacles. See how Shai did it, and the Lord always says He'll never put you through anything that you can't handle. He always makes a way out, but that's if you believe. Okay, all right. Finishing up, it says, "Look straight ahead. Fix your eyes on what lies before you." Okay, which is the finish line: salvation, the kingdom of heaven. Mark out a straight path for your feet. Okay? Stay on the safe path. Don't get sidetracked. You see? Stay focused. Don't get sidetracked. Keep your feet from following evil. That's right, man. So that's it. All right. They want to make this too long. Lord willing, this lesson was straightforward and edifying to the whole full elect of the nation of Israel. I'm going to close by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Chaha Kadash. All right. And double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. I've taught this word in truth and sincerity. Peace and mercy to the whole full elect, starting with the 144,000 on down. All right. Shalom. Stay up and continue to stay strong.